Something stronger. Hope, resilience, community. This April 12th, healing comes to the shore. Introducing the world's first Denim Run, a powerful 5K run and walk bringing survivors, advocates, and allies together in strength and solidarity. We run not just for awareness, but for each other. Stand with survivors. Run for healing. Register now for the inaugural Denim Run. Together, we rise.
Let's see what happens when it comes to
So just yesterday, this is the medal that was unveiled, and we're getting a lot of response to that. Also, since the last time I was here, 2 other places have decided to do denim runs. Austin, Texas, with full support from the financial support from the political communities, and then one last place, New York City. So I hope Santa Monica embraces this event, and we'd like to come back year after year. Thank you.
Mr. Cohen and Morgan Hunter Gross.
Okay, thank you.
They didn't switch the key command.
Mr. Cohen and Morgan Hunter Gross.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
Let me go into OBS. I'm gonna try recording this. Let's go. Oh, I gotta. Do I want myself in the frame? Okay, let me turn me off for a second. Boink. Start recording. Okay, we're rolling. And then I go back over here. I full screen this. Oh, and then I'm gonna mute me.
And Morgan Hunter Gross.
Okay, thank you. Hope Santa Monica. Full support from the financial support from the political communities, and then one last place, New York City. So I hope Santa Monica embraces this event, and we'd like to come back year after year. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cohen and Morgan Hunter Gross.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's okay. I saw they have a hearing thing if you have trouble next time.
Okay.
I thank you, City Council, for unlocking the handicap bathrooms. A round of applause. Thank you, guys. It's a little thing. All right. First time I came here, I read off my phone. The second time I came here, I wrote my notes. The third time I came here last time, I read off of my custom-built backpack, which is a Mac OS X computer actively cooled using a sine wave inverter and power. Cool. I also used my camera headphones, which was fun. All right, stitched together. Okay, so what am I here to talk about? This is March. It's Developmental Disability Awareness Month. So what do we as developmental disability have to contribute? We have invention to contribute. We camouflage. Oh, I was thinking about camouflage. I was thinking about Arctic Apache early this morning. Okay, so about 15 to 20% of us in the United States have developmental disabilities. We had someone here last week or 2 weeks ago with epilepsy talking. That's epilepsy. Read the list. Hold on, I made a list. Specific learning disorders, ADHD, developmental language disorder, autism spectrum disorder, developmental coordination disorder, stuttering, Tourette syndrome, elimination disorder, that's like wedding beds, chromosomal conditions like Down syndrome, like my neighbor, cerebral palsy, like my uncle. We have hearing loss and vision loss. Both, my Aunt Lila had both hearing loss and vision loss, epilepsy, Down syndrome. Not all of us can talk. My uncle, he struggled to walk. I struggle. Santa Monica Airport. I enjoyed flying over the ocean from Santa Monica Airport during my training. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that concludes our general public
Mayor,
comment.
we have
Oh.
two callers.
Oh, my apologies. I don't, do I have a list? Can you call them, please? I don't see that.
First caller is Mike Montgomery.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get back on this. So then I can go back in and let me find the file. Just recorded. Is that it? Go back in here. It goes in here. I mean, I guess I have it already. But what's interesting is, so now did I prove that that works? Can I now edit this? Frame by frame?
Full support from
All right.
Okay, cool. Now you can see do you hear the stereo difference of the edits they had to make to fix whatever? I mean, as an editor, I know things, but the thing is this is government, needs to be on the record transcription. I can't find the minutes. Maybe the minutes have, but I don't think the transcription. And then how does the it brings up the concept of local backup, 3-2-1 backup and stuff. I wrote a whole thing about this. I can talk about this forever, but I talked about Santa Monica Airport, and it's not on the record. You heard a little bit, but you heard it was a technical error, and it's nobody's fault I know of. I'd like an explanation eventually. I mean, I'm a presidential candidate, and my audio was edited. I mean, I'm not joking. Okay. I really wish I had that to use. I trusted that they would have a record of it, and they were capable enough. When you have trust in your government and your government fails you, you say, ask not what your government can do for you, ask what you can do for your government. And if you guys need help with your video system or need some consulting, I'm happy to help. Or record keeping, or I mean, we could innovate for other cities. I mean, we could go on and on about patents and what we can do and what we can license to other. Okay, let me get back on track. Now that that has a good workflow, let us get the current stuff.
You consider my application to the Landmarks Commission. Yes, okay.
Hello, I'm here to talk about item 4G, which is the emergency homeless proclamation. Okay, so what I wanted to, we're in those, is tell you about some pictures I took while you guys were on break last week. I walked down to Tongva Park and the sun was setting, and those big metal things, I have it framed with the sunset. I came around and I saw a homeless man. He was standing looking at the sunset, really enjoying his time. A Porsche 911 Targa pulls in front of the Santa Monica sign. A man walking on the pier holding a portable television in a bathrobe and a hat, wearing sandals. He was interesting. But the showers are fascinating. I wanted to take a picture of showers, but I had to wait a while because there's some kids showering. I don't want to take pictures of kids showering, obviously. So I'm starting to take pictures of other people to document the showers, the cold showers. And this woman's trying to, and her boob pops out.
Take two.
Hello, I'm here to talk about item 4G, which is the emergency homeless proclamation. Okay, so what I wanted to, we're in those, is tell you about some pictures I took while you guys were on break last week. I walked down to Tongva Park and the sun was setting, and those big metal things, I have it framed with the sunset. I came around and I saw a homeless man. He was standing looking at the sunset, really enjoying his time. A Porsche 911 Targa pulls in front of the Santa Monica sign. A man walking on the pier holding a portable television in a bathrobe and a hat, wearing sandals. He was interesting. But the showers are fascinating. I wanted to take a picture of showers, but I had to wait a while because there's some kids showering. I didn't want to take pictures of kids showering, obviously. So I'm starting to take pictures of other people to document the showers, the cold showers. And this woman's trying to, and her boob pops out. I'm like, okay, I'm done taking pictures here. So then at the same time, people are, playing volleyball. There's some kids smoking some weed by the corner who had traveled because they have a camera. So they traveled all the way from wherever they came from, the middle of the country, to promote whatever thing because they're cool in Santa Monica, because Santa Monica is cool. Then I starting to head back to Tongva Park. A man is sleeping in front of the Tongva Park sign. I walk a little farther, more towards the entrance where people are coming off of the train, and there's now an unmarked police now drove up onto the sidewalk, and there's another homeless man who's now walking away on his bike, blaring colored lights. He was just about to fall asleep. The sun's going down. He must have just gotten off the train. He found a nice spot, but he can't sleep there, obviously, which is an interesting concept that you can't sleep on the floor. Okay, I'll move on. I don't know the laws on that one. But what I believe was interesting the first time I ever saw was the elevator for the pier. It was the first time I ever saw it. It's only open when the restaurant is open.
Thank you. We are now moving on to the consent calendar. All items are going to be considered and approved in one motion unless someone.
I apologize. I wanted to ask the question before we move forward. If there's anyone who wanted to report on travel.
Thank you. We are now moving on to the consent calendar. All items are going to be considered and approved in one motion unless someone.
I apologize. I wanted to ask the question before we move forward. If there's anyone who wanted to report on travel. I know that's out of order, but.
Oh, my apologies. Okay. Did anyone want to report on that?
Councilmember Snell.
Yeah, so sorry. It just has to be properly agendized. On the proper agenda item, I mean. Sean Besser, John Prindle, Robbie Lear, Hunter Hall, Daisy the Venice Healer, Doug Trussler, Morgan Hunter Gross. Are any of you here? Feel free to come on up. We then also have Claire Thomas, Karen Mellick, Denise Barton, etc. And you can feel free to come up if I've called your name, just in the spirit of expediency. Thank you.
I have a video to play. I didn't make the video, but I have a video to play. My name's Morgan Hunter Gross.
Did you submit it to the clerk's office?
Correct, before 12 o'clock, 11:30.
Okay.
They said it could play. I didn't have to download it and send it up before. In the meantime.
Is it the airplanes?
Yeah, it's about airplanes, exactly.
Okay.
It's about airplanes.
Is this
My special interest is about airplanes. You kidding me? I'm supposed to be talking about aerospace.
The FAA has released a blueprint for
It's not
future
playing,
air
but we're
taxi
listening to audio.
operations in the nation's airspace.
Oh, there we go.
At first, air taxis
Go
will
ahead and start the
operate
timer.
using existing routes and helipads used by helicopters today, following the same rules as other aircraft. As operations increase, the air taxis could fly in designated corridors. Initially, pilots will be on board and actively fly the aircraft. Pilots see and avoid other aircraft and coordinate with air traffic controllers. Air taxis likely will operate one way only within the established corridors set first. But as air taxis increase in number and complexity, strategies for two-way traffic could be introduced. In these corridors, operators could be responsible for keeping aircraft safely separated using industry-developed technologies and FAA-approved rules. This blueprint is a key step in the FAA's work to safely usher in this next era of aviation.
Thank you. So right outside City Hall, even the rosemary bush has a little bit of foam nests on it. Juvenile insects using the plant as both food source and shelter. It reminds me that not every visible irregularity is a crisis, and that good governance means understanding the system before we rush to poison it, erase it, or call it a problem. I'm going to name some companies: Joby, Archer, Beta, Whisk, Electra, Ampere, Regent, Pika, Lyft, and Pivotal. I'm going to give you some words. AAM, Advanced Air Mobility. UAM, Urban Air Mobility. Powered Lift. Vertiport. A vertiport is a landing facility with VTOL. Okay. EB 105, which is brand new from the FAA. That was an FAA video, by the way, everyone. Okay. The Engineering Brief 105 is FAA's current vertiport design documents, giving us eVTOL, which stands for Electric Vertical Takeoff and Landing. The new Mosaic is brand new. It's a modernization of Special Airworthy certification of FAA's modern modernization of light sport, which is what we've been flying at Santa Monica Airport for a while, those piston-powered. Well, avgas is going away, and a bunch of good stuff. I want to thank you guys for your time, and you guys stay here late, which is really impressive. And I don't think as many people later.
Thank you. I don't know if any of you are Daisy the Venice Healer, Doug Trussler, Claire Thomas, Karen Mellick, but feel free to come up if I called your name.
Yeah.
Great.
Can you say your name when you do come up, please?
Hey, superheroes. I go by Daisy the Venice Healer. I consider myself the friendly local neighborhood superhero. I'm here to speak on the airport, and also I'm here to talk to you guys about my biodiversification project. So right now it's kind of small, and I have 4 gardens. 2 are in Santa Monica. 1 is in front of the courthouse, right next door. And there's fruit trees and veggies and flowers, and it's gorgeous and delicious and beautiful. And we wouldn't eat from these gardens because they're next to the road. The other one is in front of Step Up on 2nd. You know, the trees, how it's just dirt and it's ugly. Imagine if they had a beautiful little garden around it. So that's what brings me to the airport. I believe that our ecosystem is a part of us, and we want to be in a state of interbeingness with all of life. And I honor the Tongva people and the nation and the land, but we are not honoring the land because we're over trimming the trees and we're not attuning to nature, but we could be. So I propose that we create the airport into a national food forest, ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, national park. Also, eVTOLs, we don't need an airport for that. They can both drive on the road and fly. And it's not true about these air taxi and having to need an airport. We don't need that. What we need are ecosystems. We want to be more like the aliens and less like the humans, because we're going to be like superheroes or some aliens. I don't know what you're going to call us, but we got to be something different. Holy cow, I have 28 seconds. That's basically all I want to say. You're so lovable, Doobadoodles. I'm going to be running for city council. So we're going to twerk. We're going to start all the meetings by twerking, moving our body, and we're going to be splashing. We're going to have watering holes. We're going to hair flip. Can't wait to be on city council. It's a popularity contest, so of course I'm going to be the mayor. Then I'm going to rename myself the queen. So it's good to see you, queen. I love you, Gladys. Yeah.
Good to see you, Queen. Okay. Doug Trussler, Claire Thomas, Karen Mellick.
Good evening. Thanks. Good evening. Thanks for having me. I'm not used to being on the clock, but I can see the need for it. 6 months ago, the city disclosed fiscal distress and a negative credit rating watch.
Man, I love this documentary. This documentary is the best. All right, stop recording. All right. I gotta move some stuff around. File organization is like the most boring thing ever. Wait. Oh, it's in movies. It's already in here. Boom. Kaka-kapow. Okay. What? Excuse me. Oh, I guess I just want all of this. Yeah. Go. Ooh, let's get the audio. Let's get the audio.
Right.
Thank you.
That's right. Now your first official.
That's right. Almost late for my first meeting.
All right, we'll call to order the Airport Commission meeting for
How do I download this?
Monday, March 23rd.
Are you really gonna make me fight
And
this
it
thing?
is 7:04 p.m. And actually, Nick, quick before we have the wrong agenda on our, I have Recs and Parks on. Is that what you have? Yeah. I'm using the printed one, but I don't know if it's possible to change it. Yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you.
That's right. Now your first official.
That's right. Almost late for my first meeting.
Dude, this thing was nuts. How many pages? They have all of it? No. It was like this thick of so much stuff to go through to find anything. Jerry Rubin, his vision is going, and he's asking me to like tell him what item number to talk about, and he can't read it, and I'm like looking through a stack of papers. No. It was not this simple. This was in a giant stack. Are you kidding me? It was so big. Was it with all the reports? It had maybe had all of this. I mean, this is a whole, this gets into, see what we're dealing with? Look at this. Like, is this getting the car noise also? Like, what about the car noise, the motorcycles on these streets? Okay, what would I do differently? First of all, I would put a microphone here. And I would put a microphone here, somewhere in this neighborhood. Yeah, the fact that we don't have a microphone here, like, why don't we make Pelican case microphone kits and give it to these people? Like, this is a no-brainer. Like, we quantify this. Like, like, this is something that could be done in a matter of a week. I mean, I've been thinking about this stuff non-stop. Every day of my life, I think about this for hours. How am I going to download this? Share, embed? No way. Larry. Larry, remember me from middle school? Oh man, are you kidding me? We're in freaking Oracle. We're in Oracle database right now. How do I download this? Thank you. Do I just have to record this?
That's right.
Can I speed through it?
If we want to copy what the city council does, that's reasonable to me.
All right, let's go. Oh no, but then it won't be synced. That's the whole point. Well, I guess it'll sync just that little bit.
City opposes abusive or threatening.
I had to talk like right away. They just threw me into the fire. All right, let's start recording.
All right, we'll call to order the Airport Commission meeting for Monday, March 23rd, and it is 7:04 p.m. And actual Airport Commission meeting.
That's right. Almost late for my first meeting.
All right, we'll call to order the Airport Commission meeting for Monday, March 23rd, and it is 7:04 p.m. And actually, Nick, quick, before we have the wrong agenda on our, I have Recs and Parks on. Is that what you have? Yeah. I'm using the printed one, but I don't know if it's possible to change it. Yeah, okay. All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Nick, whenever you're ready for the roll call.
Chair Reynolds,
Here.
Vice Chair Wilder. Here. Commissioner Neary. Let the record show Commissioner Neary is absent. It is excused. Commissioner Patel.
Present.
And Commissioner Griffin. Commissioner Griffin is also excused and absent.
Nick, it looks like we may have some mic issues. I don't know. Yeah, neither of, oh, now, is it working? No, it's putting in cue, okay. Yeah, okay, great. All right. Okay. Okay, before we begin, anybody who wishes to address the Airport Commission regarding items on the agenda can submit a chit to Nick in advance of the agenda item. And actually, if you want to let Nick know which item you wish to speak on, that would be helpful. Before we begin, I want to read aloud the standards of behavior that promote civility at all public meetings. Treat everyone courteously, listen to others respectfully, give open-minded consideration to all viewpoints, focus on the issues and avoid personalizing debate, embrace respectful disagreement and dissent as democratic rights, inherent components of an inclusive public process, and tools for forging sound decisions. Hate has no place in Santa Monica. The city opposes abusive or threatening hate speech, intolerance, or dehumanization, and supports basic civil respect and human decency. Before we move to public input on non-agenda items, I just want to, we need to vote on this, correct, Ivan? What we discussed? No, we don't? Okay, all right. So, and please clarify if I, if I get this wrong. So in our bylaws, the Airport Commission has no guidelines around donated time. It's not part of our bylaws. If there is someone who wishes to donate, if there is somebody who wishes to donate time, they can donate up to, I'm going to say this correctly. Each speaker can have one donated amount of time, up to 4 minutes, correct? Right. To speak on one item. Right, so you can't have 10 people donate for 20 minutes, but you can have one donation for 2 minutes, up to a total of 4 minutes on a particular item per speaker, correct? Okay. Okay. So, and we do not need to vote on that. We can.
No, so just, my mic isn't working. Thank you. So, as you mentioned earlier, the Commission's rules are silent as to time donations. So there's nothing in the rules that allows for them, but at the same time, there's nothing that prohibits them. So usually a speaker's amount of time, I think, falls within the discretion of the chair. So if the chair wants to recognize time donations for this meeting, and maybe the commission can take up the matter of amending its bylaws in the future, but if you want to permit time donations for this meeting, you can do so.
Okay.
Within, I would suggest reasonable limits. I think if we want to copy what the city council does, that's reasonable to me. And I think there's an additional 2 minutes for them. Is that how it works?
Yeah, total of 4 minutes on one agenda item, correct?
Okay.
Okay.
That should be fine.
Okay, great. All right, so let's move on to agenda item number 1, public input on non-agenda items. Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Yes, we have 3 public requests to speak on this item. We have Morgan Hunter, Jerry Rubin, and Cesar Estrada. Can you please make your way up to the podium? Okay, Morgan Hunter will be speaking first. And one moment while I start your time, I'll let you know. Okay, your time starts now.
Hello, my name is Morgan Hunter Gross. Commissioners, thank you. Today I was at Santa Monica Airport viewing area. My mom took me there after the growing place, and aviation and aerospace became one of my special interests, one of the things that calms me down and helps me focus. There were 5 nannies and 5 kids watching the planes and helicopters. LAPD used it for 2 low passes, and right next door, the existing airport park is already being used for special needs groups with kids, dog owners, and families who rely on that open grass. So this site is not abstract. It already works for real people. That is why I think we are asking the wrong question. This should not be framed as an old airport versus no airport. It should be framed as whether Santa Monica is willing to build an efficient, transparent, forward-thinking, intermodal future. If we're going to replace the commercial land north of the airport, then do it right. Do not answer the future with generic wood over podium logic and flat thinking. Use this moment to build something better. The FAA already issued Engineering Brief 105A on December 27, 2024, giving planning and design guidance for vertiports and vertical takeoff infrastructure. And the FAA's Eagle in 2016 draft aimed to safely eliminate leaded aviation fuel from piston engine aircraft by the end of 2030. That means aviation is already changing. It's getting cleaner. It's getting more adaptable. So why should Santa Monica erase a strategic mobile site right as national system is evolving? Think in 3D. Keep mobility here, but modernize it. Make this an intermodal future. One-way, eVTOL, rail connection, walking paths, bike paths, accessibility, and people movers for those who cannot walk long distances. Put swimming pools and other heavy public infrastructure underground like Helsinki, where they are efficient and climate stable. Then build interconnected park above the 50 acres of continuous public realm. This is efficiency. This is forward thinking. This is force multiplication. Santa Monica should build cleaner, accessible, historical, intermodal future.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter, thank you.
Next to speak will be Jerry Rubin. And one moment, your time starts now.
Thank you very, very much. Jerry Rubin. I'm a member of the Urban Forest Task Force, but I'm just speaking for myself. Honorable Chair Reynolds, Honorable Vice Chair Wilder, Commissioners, City staff, and fellow Santa Monicans. First, I want to wish you a happy Earth Day, April 22nd. As some of you know, the city was kind enough to plant a tree of gratitude in memory of my wife a few Earth Days ago, and you're invited to attend a rededication of that tree, as well as the Children's Tree of Life nearby, which was also planted on Earth Day in 1983. On April 22nd at 5:30 p.m., it'd be wonderful if you could come. I hear Mother Nature might be there. She hasn't confirmed officially, but I hope she can make it. The other thing I'd like to do is just take a brief moment of silence for the two pilots that were killed in that tragic plane crash in New York. If we could just have a few seconds of silence. Really appreciate that very much, and thank you for all your good work.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Next to speak will be Cesar Estrada, and your time starts now.
Hello, everyone. Realize is that closing the airport and converting it at this time with the framework in mind is critical. We're at a time and place in history that even today, the World Meteorological Organization declared the climate is out of balance more today than ever in recorded history. This great park conversion, the conversion to the great park, is in fact a great paradigm shift that Santa Monica needs to make and has been a leader for throughout the world on sustainability. And as we have our sustainability, it's really imperative for the young people with whom I work with to see that our leadership is not full of token rhetoric, but serious.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez.
Next to speak would be Jerry Rubin.
Chair Reynolds, may I speak after Emperor's presentation?
Yes, Mr. Rubin.
Next up would be Eve Lopez. Next up, Michael Brodsky. And your time starts now.
This semester, I'm teaching special needs kids through the Resource Conservation District of the Santa Monica Mountains, and it's really cool. I'm excited to finally see the framework that thousands of our residents have chosen for our future great park. We can also be guided by the frameworks of other parks that were once airfields. The most famous is Meigs Field, that closed in 2003. They removed the runway, remediated the field, planted grass, and put in a walking path at a cost of, get this, $2.9 million. And that included remediation. Google it. It opened a year later as Northerly Island Park, and as the years passed, they further enhanced it into the fabulous nature preserve that it is today. $14 million total to turn an airfield into a park. Pretty simple. Doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And we could do the same without any change to Measure LC. In fact, we're already 30% the way there. In 2019, we removed 30% of the runway, planted it with native plants, and it was money well spent. And we could remove the remaining runway, plant native flowers for just 10, and that puts us on the way to building out our chosen framework for a future great park, just like they did transforming Meigs Field into Northern Islay Park. So it's pretty simple, can be cost effective, tons of immediate benefits to our residents, and really exciting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brodsky.
Next to speak would be Patty Bruin. Okay. Next to speak would be Chris Gutierrez on item 8B. Okay. And then Eve Lopez for 9A. All right. That would be it for public request.
Great, thank you, and sorry for the confusion earlier. We got it, we figured it out. All right, now we will officially move on to item number 8A, the airport conversion project. And I know we are all eagerly awaiting the update from the airport conversion team. So thank you, welcome, Amber Rashane.
Thank you. I'm going to actually run it off my computer, I hope. Gee, that takes a second. There may be something that you hit if you're not, oh, over here. Usually there's something over there that says like HDMI
Oh, yeah.
input instead
Okay.
of computers. All right, there we go. Good evening. It is so nice to be with you. Thank you for having us, commissioners. My name is Amber Rashane. I'm a principal design and planning manager for the city of Santa Monica, and I lead the airport project. We've got two of our team members here with us tonight. We're really excited to bring this forward. So as we have been before you previously, we've been at this for a little while, right? It's been about 2 years of community engagement, let alone the many years of work beforehand. But for this project, we're in phase 3B, where we're determining a preferred framework diagram. And we'll go through a whole bunch of stuff. How we got here, a little bit about recent history. July 8th was the last time that we were before City Council, and that was where they gave us direction to move forward with uses that would not require a ballot measure. We took that information, and in the fall, we have been working. We also heard during 3A, so right in January, we started phase 3A, where we were digging into 3 scenarios. The council had told us to study some housing, right? And so we created a whole phase that really dug in. It was, we were trying to get people to engage on a lot of different fronts. And at the July 8th meeting, obviously council gave us direction then. That's what we're moving forward with. But we took the feedback from 3A very seriously. A lot of people had said the surveys were just too long, or the information was just, you had to really deeply understand to be able to answer, and it felt a little complicated. So we took that very seriously and thought about how do we make this more accessible? How do we bring forward 2 years of community engagement in a way that is easier to understand, easier to engage with, and that we can provide simple surveys and still get meaningful feedback? And so we've done that all fall. And now we're coming back with the framework diagram. We're headed to boards and commissions, such as yourselves right now, and we anticipate going back to City Council at that first meeting in May. So what is a framework, right? This is it can be used in a lot of different ways, but at its core, essentially it synthesizes all of the information, right? In 3A alone, the COMAP survey, which was one piece of the ways that people gave feedback, we had 12,000 comments. which is amazing, right? That's an amazing amount of time and effort that people in our community have engaged with us about this project. And how do you synthesize, even just from that one activity, let alone the 2 years before that, to bring something forward? And so what we've done is taken everything from phase 1, 2, and 3A, distilled it down into essentially a bubble diagram or a framework diagram, something that says, where do things go? Why are they there? What is this based on? And as we were working through it, we realized that things were falling into kind of 3 buckets, right? When we look at the site and do the analysis of the site itself, right? What is the land telling us? What are the things that the existing conditions might want to be improved upon? So we came up with 3 buckets, the big moves, the bold connections, and the beloved places. And we'll go through each of them. So the first one is big moves. This is where we are looking at the site and what are the things that we think are important no matter what happens where to the land. So we're not going to go through every single one of these, but I'm going to highlight some of the maybe most important ones or the ones that felt the most impactful. So the first one being Clover Park as the front door. What we realize is this is currently an airport, right? It is behind a fence. It's not easily accessible. There's not really a natural place to enter into from anywhere in the community. But we have Clover Park, and it is a beloved park. It is well used. People use it for all sorts of passive and active recreation, community, and other types of connection. And so if we started the front door of this project out at Ocean Park Boulevard and invited people in through Clover, which they're already familiar with, and then into the project, that would be sort of a first step or first thing that we would want to make sure that we do is give a clear entry for people to know where they're going. We also looked at how to connect to the park, right? As I stated, right, there's a fence around the whole thing. You really can't get to it from a lot of different places on purpose, right? It's a runway. You're not supposed to be able to walk across a runway. But as we open this up for the public, how are we bringing people in meaningful ways? How do we facilitate those bike and ped access points and types of trips? Then we looked at also, once we've brought you in, what are you coming to? What's important when we call those anchor points? So as you've walked through Clover, or in this diagram, we're saying 31st, what are you coming to? What is the thing that draws you all the way through? Because that's still, a couple hundred feet to walk. So what are you going to that you're excited about? So at each of those anchor points, there's got to be something really dynamic and fun that you want to go back to over and over and over. It creates the destination. And then between those anchor points, what's happening there, right? Because that's another piece that was really interesting. How do we create a space that becomes a central gathering place, right? This is, right, we used to have a Santa Monica festival and those sorts of things where it's like a big grassy lawn that is open for people to be, right, having a picnic or playing Frisbee or hanging out with friends or your dog or your kids, whatever it is. And that it's available, but it's a big welcoming space for people to come and enjoy. That was a big focus of the project. And then as we talked about Clover as the front door, that's really kind of the Santa Monica front door. And as you look at kind of other edges of the site of where people might be coming in, they might be coming for different experiences, right? On that south end, we already have sort of an arts and culture district that is there. So that door might invite or feel different than people who might be coming for different types of activities, either locals or regional. Maybe there's a ceremonial front door to let people know that you've arrived and that there's something really special, right? We've got some grade changes in there to pay attention to. And so distinct front doors that invite people to come in to different points of the project. The next set are about the bold connections. And these really dig into, yes, we know we need to get people to the site. We also need to get people through the site and give them experiences that make them want to keep coming back. And again, we're not going to go through all of them, but we'll go through some of the highlights. The first one being Airport Ave. That street right now, right, doesn't have a great sidewalk. It's it doesn't have a sidewalk at all in some places. It's really tricky currently. And we have, for anyone that attended Freeze, right, they had some events on the south side of Airport Ave, but most of their events were on the north side. And they actually had to have crossing guards because there was so much traffic coming on through and then cars coming through as well, and we just needed to keep everybody safe. So what if we took the street and sometimes you could close it down? That we diverted cars in a different way or vehicles in a different way so that you could have some of these bigger arts and cultural events that spill out into the street. And with all of these are ideas. These are things that we wanted to create and helped inform how the framework was created. It doesn't mean that everything is happening exactly as is, but these were the concepts that we were looking at. We also looked at how do you create a park frontage road, a small park road, right? This is one lane in each direction. That's what you can see in the street section, the hand-drawn street section side. One lane in each direction, maybe parallel parking on the side. But these are small park roads so that you can get people from Ocean Park Boulevard into where this park is going to be. It allows for, if we are going to have people, well, you'll see how it works in the framework, but can we get people in and through and around? But that whole edge, that whole southern edge is all single family homes on the LA side. So this is really the only place to create a north-south connection. And while we don't want to create roads that would create a lot of vehicles or try and solve all of the issues of Bundy pedestrians here, so that it would just be a pathway, because right now you can't get across this site at all. Obviously, again, it's an active runway. So if we prioritize the bike and ped motion here without any vehicles, but still encourage that north-south connection, maybe we can make that bike commuting experience better. Right? I don't know if you've ever tried to ride a bike on 23rd or Bundy or Centinela. It's fairly awful and takes your life in your hands. So can we create a safe place for bikes to move in that north-south direction? We also looked at parking. Right on the south side, there is a decent amount of parking. There's a lot of open lots. On the north side, it's a little trickier, mostly because everything is gated or it's part of the Santa Monica Business Park. So when we introduce, or if we introduce that small park road and line it with parallel parking, we can start to distribute that parking a little bit better. Are there areas that are currently behind the locked fences that could be available for vehicle parking to facilitate different activities and things? Again, still prioritizing people coming by bus. We've got fantastic bus route on Ocean Park Boulevard and others along Bundy, but making sure that we are preparing for vehicles of all types. So what did we do with all this information? We started with kind of that site analysis to tee up what should we do going forward based on all of the information. So this chart should look familiar. It was created from the information and feedback that we got in phase 1. There were 147 uses that were brought forward in phase 1. Phase 2 was about prioritizing and analyzing the different types. And so, not that I expect you to be able to read this, but all of the green are the passive recreation, orange active recreation, cyan is community hub, and then the purple is arts and culture. And so what this does is we took all of this information and using, some of these have an asterisk next to them, and I know you probably can't read it, but it says could or would require a vote pursuant to Measure LC, because at the time that this was done, which was over a year ago now, we didn't know as much, and we've been working closely with planning and our city attorney office to understand when something that requires a vote, so we wanted to understand that. So what we're doing is we're taking all of the feedback from phases 1, 2, and 3A, all of those uses that are within council direction, and of course our guiding principles, which set the stage for all of these decisions. And we've created 8 different districts. One of the other things that we've learned throughout this process, right, again, I mentioned that COMEP activity, and if you go onto the resources tab, you can see how everything kind of sorts out of the project website. But where we were finding consensus is that on the west end, that is where a lot of people wanted the more calm and neighborhood type of activities or uses throughout this engagement process. And then for our more active and regional uses, those were prioritized on the east side. And so as kind of a high level consideration, that's how we've set up the 8 different districts. So with that, we'll go into the districts. So what is the district and why did we do this? So the framework was sort of, it sets up something that is flexible. We know that this project will take decades to build. We know that things change, right? 40 years ago, no one had ever heard of pickleball. Now it's all the rage. How do you plan for those things when you don't know what's coming next or 40 years down the line? So the purpose of a framework is to say, here's where things go in big, broad buckets so that no matter what happens, we know where in this project it would occur. And so it can be strong enough, thoughtful enough to be solid, but it's flexible enough to allow whatever comes in the next however many decades. And even when it's fully built out, things will still continue to change and evolve, right? So how do we create something that is strong but flexible? And so what the districts allow us to do is to break down that framework even further and say, okay, here is a location. It's sized approximately correctly, we think. They are right, flexible within. What types of uses would go in this district? And what does that kind of look like? So we've got some precedent images and things that go along with it. We've got a narrative statement, and then we have some diagrams that show what it kind of looks like. What it also lets us do is, as part of 3A, we did an LOI process and the letters of interest to say, hey, what do people think would be interesting to do here? And what it also helped inform is that if we don't know where things go, it's hard to assess any given idea, right? People approach us all the time and say, hey, I have a great idea for a balloon, soccer, futsal, community gardens, and I mean, you name it. And there's been people that say, I have a great idea, just, tell me where to put it. I promise I'll get the funding. And so what the districts and the framework do is say, now we know where something would go, and it lets us vet those types of activities together. It also facilitates us going after grant funding. We have had some recent success, which we're very excited about, but it's not official until council adopts it or approves it. And so we've got a planning grant that we're working through the process on right now for that first phase, which is super exciting. But a lot of it was because we've been working through what is a framework and how do we know where things are, because people don't want to give you money if you're just going to, yeah, sure, we're going to build the thing somewhere in 192 acres. That's less compelling than, yeah, we know this is the type of thing that we want to do, and here's where it goes. And so that was why the districts became really important. It also will help us with phasing and with cost estimating. So the first district shouldn't surprise anyone, since our first guiding principle is start with nature. We heard a lot about passive nature, and as Santa Monica densifies, and we're seeing that in lots of places around the city, that folks are going to need connection back to nature. They're going to want those places that are calm, that they sort of get you out of the urban fabric, and that you can really feel like you are immersed in nature. And so this first district, all the way on the west side, is that district that'll focus on biodiversity as well. And it's the calmest of the districts. So for each of these districts, you'll see a diagram, that narrative paragraph. These pictures were the images that went with the different surveys in phase 2 to help in the prioritization, and then a list of the example uses that you might see in this district. So not surprising, you're seeing a nature park and wildflower meadows, maybe a nature education center, community gardens, gardens of all types, right? But it's that being able to connect with nature in an area that is big enough so that you don't hear the street all the time, or at least that's the hope. And so starting on our west side, we start with immersive nature. The next one is active sports. Those were probably the two biggest items that we saw. So in that list that had the different colorings, you saw a lot of green and a lot of orange in the top use categories. This is also one that Tony, I believe it was in January that he took to council the Park and Rec's vision plan. And as part of that, there was also a Parks and Rec needs assessment. So in working with him and with that information, looking at what does Santa Monica need right now? And then as our population grows, what will we need? And then things like, what do we want, right? So building all of that in. And does it also make sense to maybe move program, right? And I want to make sure that everyone hears we would not move something until it's open in the new location. So there's not downtime between. We were at Rec and Parks Commission last Thursday. That was a big question from them, right? Yes, we would not close something until the new thing is open in the new location if we choose to do that. But this is that active, right? It's structured recreation. It is very dynamic. And now we can say where something goes when they come to us. So not surprising, right? This is about our multi-use fields. This is about diamond sports. This is about court sports, right? Pickleball, as I had mentioned, I think it's something like we need 6 courts, but to have a tournament, it's 24 courts. So those are the types of things that we're planning for. While it's above the need, it is something that we're hearing consistently. Additional basketball courts and tennis courts. The aquatic center is something that could happen here. You'll also see another location that right, it might straddle between two. But again, those example uses. The next district is arts and culture. There's already a great arts group there, and our cultural affairs and recreation and arts department has been doing a great job. I don't know if anyone was able to attend the open studios. I guess it was about a month and a half ago now. But they're really starting to engage with the artists that are there. So how do we build on that? How do we create more of those spaces? We are going to have spaces, or it's anticipated, right? We're going to have spaces that used to house airplanes and things of that. But with the runway closing, if your business is dependent on a runway, then your business is probably moving. If your business is not dependent on a runway, this is an area that we want to help you in, right? That our small and local businesses, we want to prioritize in the locations at this area. And this one would prioritize those arts and culture uses. You also see an area that says arts, food, and performance. We've been working closely with the Arts Commission as well. And the chair of that commission feels very strongly, she's very passionate about, right, arts is not just paintings and sculpture. It is all sorts of things, right? And food is culture, performance is culture, right? Dance is just about the arts, as the same amount about arts and culture as a painting or other fine arts things. So how do we start to really bring in all of those pieces so that it can be really dynamic? This picture is from the Montana where they close the streets. It's our art walk, and they get a ton of people there, and it's a really great community event. So how do we create flexible places that can have these larger events sometimes, and celebrate all that's great with arts and culture and community, and provide different experiences? And so what you'll see here are flexible lawns, right? If we were going to have an amphitheater, one of the small ones. We're also working the Community Cultural Affairs Department and the Rec and Arts Department. They have spaces that they program regularly, but they also know what sizes of things they're missing. And so we're working with them to understand what are the right sizes of these things as well. What are the types of events that we want to be able to host and that we just don't have the right space currently. And so we're bringing that into here as well. The urban edge is on the north side. This is that transition zone. Santa Monica Business Park is what you see in gray there. It is a big barrier, right? As much as it is open, you can walk through it. It's not the easiest. It's not the most direct. It's not easy to find. But it also hides, anything that is happening on the airport land site. And so how do we bring the park out to Ocean Park Boulevard and invite people in? Is one piece of this district. And also, maybe even more so than on the south side, we want to focus on those small and local businesses that are there and want to stay. And how do we support them? How do we create an environment that they're excited about? How do we enhance, right? We want to keep all of the revenue. When council said nothing that requires a vote, that means we really need to focus on keeping those tenants that are paying money currently. How do we make it so that they stay and want to expand and grow? And so this urban edge is really about that adaptive reuse and reusing all of those pieces. What are the things that are possible? So this can be things like, do we take a hangar and now we can have indoor table tennis or futsal or other types of things, right? What type of pickup games are available? Can we look at incubators for small businesses, right? How do we find those places that allow a lower rent for someone who's just starting out and then create a stream or a pathway for entrepreneurs? Family-friendly beer garden was one of the ones that people were really excited about. How do we include or is the next district? You see this on top of Clover Park. Currently, Clover has a great walking path. And if you walk the whole loop, I think it's about a half mile or so, maybe 3/4. Imagine if you could walk through Clover Park and then across this whole project and come back out, right? That seems to be about a 3.5, 4 mile loop, which would be pretty amazing. But the stroll is really about people getting people in, right? And so you see a lot of walking paths. What are those great places that people want to be seen, bump into their neighbors, have the conversation, walk with your coffee, right? We already see people doing that in Clover, provide some spaces for those grassy knoll type things, but really it's about promenading, strolling in. The next one is the lawn, and I talked a little bit about this. You see it a lot, right? A lot of people have focused on Central Park, right, and Sheepherder's Meadow that is active really all throughout the year, except in like maybe the day that it's snowing. But people use it all, for many, many different activities. And so how do we create a space that is open and communal? It's welcoming to everyone, but it's also flexible in a way that allows us to have those community type events, right? As I mentioned, Santa Monica Festival, we used to do that. Maybe this is a place that it is grass, but it allows for additional activity. So if we were going to have a movie night, or we wanted to bring the art out into something, if somebody wanted to activate this space, let's say an event center where someone's having a wedding or something, and you would spill out onto the lawn. We also look at this as something that if active sports is on the easternmost, right, this is now kind of stepping down a little bit in that continuum from most active to most passive, that this is a space that could be dynamic and would be used for exciting and different things. You might even be able to use the grass sometimes if we're having a bigger soccer tournament or rugby tournament or lacrosse or whatever it is, right? And we could flex a little bit, right? So the lawn is a space that is mostly grass and would sometimes, which is at the end of Clover Park, right? So this is one of our anchor points where we imagine that this is grass as well, but this is something that is always available to the community. There are never big events here, right? Because we are headed closer to that west side. So on that continuum, most active on the east, then the lawn kind of in the middle. The meadow is a transition before you get to the most passive in the immersive nature. And so this one is really meant to be the neighborhood destination. Maybe it has playgrounds or water features, right? Things that people in our community want to come back to again and again and again. These might be on the outside edge so that interior is always that grass place that is never programmed. It's always an unprogrammed experience. And then the last district is the heart. So if we were going to build a new community center or resiliency center, or, right, is it paired for different events? Is it a band shell, right? That's what this one is. Is it the aquatic center, right? So this is where, if you were saying, oh, meet me at the park, this is what it would be. And we also looked at, what are the things that create this, right? We have Memorial Park, and for those indoor places, but it's overstressed as well for indoor basketball and other things. And so can we relieve some of that here? Might we include the cultural center that we've heard a lot about in the first several phases? Do we include a cafe, right? So people can come, watch their kids play sports or enjoy an event. and get something to eat and drink. Maybe they see, we start to bring in the art as well. This is the piece that touches almost all of the districts, but becomes that big destination node. And so the big reveal, what does all this look like together, right? That's a lot of different districts that do a lot of different things. We think we've hit the right notes with what uses occur where. But the framework diagram is all about how it fits together. And so you see active sports on the east side, immersive nature on the west side. You can see how the stroll leads into the meadow. And then between the meadow and the heart, we have that big lawn. Urban edge on the north, arts and culture on the south. These are meant to be, right, this is a diagram. And again, while a framework is strong, it is flexible. So if we need to adjust a line here or there, we can certainly do that to say, oh, you know what, we actually need 4 of those and 2 of those, or we didn't anticipate this type of thing, right? The feedback that we're getting right now, these lines may morph some, but the idea that we now know where things go, and when we start to want to fundraise or go after grants or philanthropic dollars, we can start to target that. We can look at, right, maybe we're doing an LOI for the active sports district so that we can do all of that together. Or are we doing a call with artists for different things within arts and culture, right? Now we can say where things are. You can start to see the different roadways and pathways and bike and ped connections, how that might look. So while in the big moves and the bold connections, they were on their own, this is how these things start to fit together. And so you can see how if we were going to close Airport Ave, maybe we are able to divert traffic around. 31st is currently a road, but then the dashed line comes through, really highlighting why the heart is where it is. That park frontage road that you see, right, coming down 27th and into the park is along that lawn. So again, those parallel parking spaces, getting them close to where people may want to be, and then getting them back out on Centinela. And so we think the framework diagram brings all these pieces together in a cohesive way that is easy to understand, and that we're seeing responses already with the survey, which will come up in just a second for how to take it. So what the framework diagram does, right where we are going to boards and commissions, ultimately going to council with the framework diagram. It's great that we've had a number of people speak about it. There seems to be support so far, which is great. And there is a simple public survey. This should take no more than 5 to 7 minutes. So we're asking some high-level questions about the big stuff. Did we get the location right? Are the uses about right? Tell us anything else that you'd like to tell us. The next step is the framework plan, or that preferred scenario framework. So we'll take all the information and direction from council in May, anticipated in May. We will come back then with something that looks at how each district might be organized. What does that look like? That's where you would start to see, for example, in the arts, the active sports district, how many fields? What does that look like? How is it organized? And it also lets us then start to dig into the cost analyses, right? Those ROM costing for a framework plan, which also then informs our funding map and what are we going after when. We're also focused on figuring out what that first phase should be. We're getting some good feedback that from grant communities and other that people are excited, and so we're starting to define. Or we will start to define what that phase 1 actually is. So a day 1 plan might be you're riding your bike on the runway, but we want to know when does construction start on that first phase that'll be a meaningful impact for our community. And then from that framework, preferred scenario framework, we'll bring that back to before boards and commissions and council, and that's that hopefully will be the basis of the project. So then we can move into feasibility and CEQA and all those sorts of things. So there'll be a book that a vision book that codifies everything that has been done, right? This is going to be a 3-year project, we anticipate. So the framework plan will go there. So for public meetings, we have already been to 4 different boards and commissions. We've got 5 more coming up. So if anyone was not able to make it tonight, please tell them to come to one of these. We are also working with our the Los Angeles, our neighbors, the Los Angeles neighborhood councils, to bring them in as well. And it's one that we've talked about throughout all of the surveys that we've done. They have participated, right? We can see what our self-reported zip codes are. And we get good participation from them, as well as all 5 of the Santa Monica zip codes, which is really exciting. Second to last slide, we would love to hear from you all. This is the QR code to go to the survey. I checked in with Sasaki and team about 2 weeks ago. We had 655 responses already, which is really great. So please, even more would be wonderful, because we are, while these are not statistically accurate surveys, we do get a lot of participation. I think we've had 12,000 survey responses so far across the 3 phases. And so we've been getting a lot of feedback. And we appreciate everything that people do. So if there's a way to share this, please do. You can always go to the website, which is highlighted there, or you can email the team if you have any specific questions. But we would love to hear from you all.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amber.
Yeah.
And thank you for all of the effort and time and detail that's gone in. Why don't we just take time for a handful of clarifying questions, and then we'll open up for public comment, and then we can have further discussion. Any initial questions for Amber before we go to public comment?
I don't know if I have clarifying questions. I think I have some questions, but I want to hear comment first.
Okay.
Yeah. Same.
You want to go straight to public comment then?
Sure.
Okay, all right. Why don't we go to public comment? I know there are quite a number of them. And then we'll circle back. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, you ready? We have Jerry Rubin, who would speak first on item 8A. Okay, your time starts now.
Thanks again, Jerry Rubin. I just want to say how proud I am of this commission, how proud I am of our city council, city staff, Amber, you and your staff, all the boards and commissions that are supporting this great park, this vision, because it starts with visualization. And I like that it's structured, but it's flexibility. The key word is balance, and we'll be able to deal with that in a good way. I'm 82 years old. I could say I wish I were younger so I could enjoy this, but there's a real satisfaction in my older age to see that this is going to be something that Santa Monica and everyone is going to benefit. Even as an older guy, I really appreciate that. I love the names, especially the heart. You ever see that green heart emoji? I think of that every time I hear the word heart, an environmental friendly heart. Sure, the big blue bus will have more shuttles by that. My gosh, their whole fleet will be electric by then. Trees. Imagine the kids learning how to plant them, and the businesses and supportive people donating them and helping. And a lot of the wealthy people helping. And the new political leadership, which is going to come, we know it will, for all of us in California and our country. They're going to be more environmentally friendly, more art friendly. I still remember that art is a part of our sustainability plan. Art and culture was voted to be part of that years ago. So it's good we're having cultural and art here too. My goodness. Wow. I wonder if I'll ever get a... That's okay. That's the suggestion.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Next to speak would be Eve Lopez. And your time starts now.
Great, thank you, and good evening. And so thank you and your staff for your work. It was really impressive because we heard a lot of things that were being included, active space, passive space, but what we didn't see included is a budget. And I get that the budget is contemplated for the next phase, but this is akin to going to a restaurant, getting a menu that has no prices, and starting to this front door concept to Clover Park. Roost number 2 is that even feasible? getting into Clover Park from Ocean Park Boulevard. Ocean Park Boulevard is a designated emergency evacuation route. I live off Ocean Park. I walk faster than the cars on Ocean Park. And that is before you put this butterflies and unicorn park with a big front door entrance on our emergency evacuation route. So safety has to come first. What we didn't see included, and I understand it'll be part of the EIR, is a traffic study, an analysis of what this does or what it would contemplate, historical landmarks on that airport that are nowhere noted and appear to have been forgotten in this concept. And so that is somewhat problematic because you're jigsawing things. You're taking existing field space, which is very expensive, to then jigsaw on the other side. And so this needs to be very community-oriented, thought out with a budget in mind.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Next to speak would be Patty Bruin. And your time starts now.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Patty Braun. I'm an arts and education advocate. I run a Weekend Bags program for food insecure students in our schools, and I'm Vice President of Santa Monica Malibu PTA Council and a past president. SMM PTA represents 9,000 school children and their families in our school district, and PTA endorsed Measure LC in 2014, and we've reaffirmed our commitment to LC recently and its voter intent of the creation of an LC-compliant Great Park when the airport closes at the end of 2028. As you probably know, we are park poor by all regional, state, and national standards at 1.5 acres parkland per 1,000 residents, and this parkland poverty is worsened by the fact that 75% of our residents live in multifamily housing without private green space. This disproportionately affects our children who need to run, to play sports, to immerse themselves in nature. The draft framework presented so beautifully tonight by Amber Rashane and her team offers a wonderful and comprehensive plan for transforming the airport site into a great park that will truly serve all our children and all our residents. Its 8 unique districts reflect Santa Monica's environmental, recreational, and cultural priorities as reflected in the broad community engagement that so many families represented by SMM PTA took part in. I could not be more supportive of the draft framework advancing the creation of our great park, which will be a destination. This means greater demand for recreation, badly needed sports fields and courts for youth sports, cooling tree canopy and green space, everyday access to nature, and everything park, from community gardens to beer gardens. Every acre counts. This new park space is essential. SMM PTA
Yes.
communities require meaningful investment in green space. I urge you tonight to approve the framework plan as the guiding vision for the airport conversion project and make your approval known to City Council, and we hope you'll oppose any petition that will go against the intent of the voters that passed Measure LC so that airport closure is not endangered and the creation of an LC-compliant Great Park is realized. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
We did have one public submission about 5 minutes ago from Terrell. I can't really read his name. Terrell, if you could come up. And when you come up, can you please state your name for the record?
Sure. Hi, good evening.
One moment, your time starts now.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tarek Bihi, and I basically wanted to talk to you about the project that we were reviewing. I'm a Santa Monica parent, and we submitted a letter to the commission anyway earlier today. I'm sure everyone here remembers the tragic night of January 7, 2025 with the Palisades fire. My family were among the families that were evacuated from Santa Monica. As we watched our neighbors lose everything, the smoke didn't care about city lines, and neither would the flames that night. If the wind had shifted directions and it crossed over to Santa Monica, potentially half of the city could have been gone that night. This is a matter of life and death. We don't need 190 acres of plastic turf that hits 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We need regional heat sink. A massive urban forest is the only infrastructure capable of dropping the temperatures by 5 degrees and creating a moisture-rich buffer against the next disaster. The active saturation. The narrative is that we need more fields. This ignores our geography. Between Clover, Memorial, SMC, and our beaches, our kids are field-rich but nature-starved. They don't need another fenced-in drill. They need a biological air filter. We are downward from the LAX. Our kids are from LAX, which is the most busiest airport in the West Coast. Our kids can only play better sports if they have clean air to breathe instead of toxic fumes and smog. There is also the fiscal situation. We need to be honest about the maths. The city's owned the Fisher lumber sites for 22 years, and we have a $50 million gap for the Memorial Park expansion, $50 million gap. If we can't afford to finish the 15 acres, we cannot justify an unfunded active district, and we can't afford more fields. And we're also not taking into consideration the costs of 20, 30 years of maintaining these areas. The solution obviously is adaptive reuse. We can put the sports and the noise inside the existing hangars, modeling this, and we can model the rest of the park after Golden Gate, which allows us to house recreation in historic structures while saving the runway for a forest with the winding trails and hidden meadows. This also serves our less affluent neighbors who deserve a public living room that is cool, safe, and restorative.
Sure.
Yeah, so please do not leave our children a legacy of maintenance bills and a heat trap. We have to give them a forest that they can actually breathe in, and one that might help save our neighbors the next time the hills are on fire. We have to consider all the costs and the long-term maintenance of the project before we approve anything. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Yep, that would be it for this item. No more public requests.
all right. Commissioners, do we have questions? I'm sure we do, for Amber Richer.
Come on up.
Is it not working? This. There it is.
For a second.
Try again. There we go. There you go. You got it. I'll just leave it on. Gentlemen, commissioners?
Sure, I'll jump in.
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation and all the hard work over the past few years, to you and, well, our other staff who
Who are not here. They'll come back.
We'll thank them later.
They've heard it enough.
You know, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, it's really simple. And I was a little disappointed at first when it came out. And then as you're talking through it, and you're talking about the over 12,000 pieces of input, and you're explaining it, it just feels right, which means I think you've done a tremendous job synthesizing all of that input. Obviously, we could split hairs, and like you said, this is going to evolve. You know, I could be like, I don't know if we should put parking there or there. You know, the first thing, though, I think that jumped out at me was the reuse of existing park space, where you're basically taking it away. And I'm like, oh, but it's so expensive to put park in. And I feel like taking the fields away from the stroll, even if we'll build the others first, or taking the dog park away, or the existing soccer field in the south end. And I think you could carve out some of these areas slightly differently so as to save some of that, particularly in Airport Park right now, where I think some of the arts and culture could kind of wrap around it and I think still work. You know, you've got the buildings to the west of the airport administration building that are, I think right now in the active sports area, those could become part of arts and performance potentially. So you kind of push the purple up north, and then shift the active sports over to the current park area. You know, and a dog park was number 20 on the list, and so I don't want to take away a dog park. So it just some of the broad strokes I might be, in other words, too broad and taking away a couple of things, and I think that just would be cost ineffective, I guess. Bigger picture question is I'm worried about time. We've slowed down a little bit. You know, this was supposed to be last month, and now it's going to come in front of council in May instead of April, and we've still got to do an EIR. And I think the elephant in the room is also there's probably going to be a couple ballot measures between now and then. And I think the more we can present this as something really exciting, that's not just here's 8 districts and make people think, like it took you half an hour to talk through all of those districts, right? And we need something that really is captivating and exciting and more visuals and more and I know you're working towards it, but I feel like we got to get that moving fast because we've got to get the community to understand exactly all the hard work you've been doing for this time and get everybody who's not in the weeds, like everybody in this room, to really get excited about it. And so it's all about communication at this point, I think. I'm a little fuzzy on the difference between the lawn and the meadow.
Okay.
It's all green space, so it's lovely, but it feels like they're very similar right now to me.
There is a lot that is similar, right? They're both grass areas, but the lawn is meant as a central gathering place where, right, if you look at active sports, right, sometimes the first section just west of the Heart might have fields on it, right? So active sports, we were looking at 6 to 8 soccer fields. Or rectangular fields. They're not just soccer, right? Rugby, lacrosse, all of it. But if we were having a tournament and you needed more, right? Because we hear about 10 is what you need. So could there be 2 in the lawn area? So sometimes that wouldn't be as big. If we were going to have movie nights or other, right? There are times of the day or year that lawn would not be available to the community because there's an event going on, which the community is invited to, but it's not just sort of passive recreation of throwing a blanket out, frisbee, hang out with friends or whatever it is. The meadow is meant to always be available. So it is calmer in nature, right? And again, going from that east to west continuum of very active to very passive, the lawn helps step down, and then the meadow helps step down again before you get to immersive nature. You wouldn't want to have big, huge events next to immersive nature, because then if you want to be in immersive nature, you've got a movie going on or something, or a soccer tournament or whatever it is. And so the meadow is that kind of respite space or that knuckle space between the two, so that immersive nature can really remain that calm, passive, quiet space for reflection and other things, and that the meadow is a little bit more exciting than maybe what's going on in the lawn being very exciting, but that's where you would come back to again and again. So small activations like a splash pad or chess park, or right, those types of things that people want to come to regularly, but that the center of the meadow is always that kind of passive green space. Does that help explain?
I think so.
Okay.
I think the sample image on the slide, there might be a better one you could use to help illustrate the difference, because it was just another big round grassy area, I guess.
So that's the lawn.
Yeah, the lawn makes sense to me. Like it's
okay.
People out.
This one.
That one. Maybe you don't flip it.
Right, so that the
left side is closer to the west. That would have helped.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can mirror it.
But thank you. That helps clarify.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
One of the things that came up is a while back you narrowed down the 147, I think you said, uses and kind of consolidated into like 94. At what point do we say we can't do all 94? And like, there's things that are like 94 as sample uses, right, on your slides. And I'm like, because we do have budget concerns and like, and so at what point do we say, okay, we're going to do the top 20 things now for the first 10 years, let's say, because those are the top, or whatever it is, right? Like, what's the plan for kind of paring that down?
Sure. So that is where going into the next phase, right, as you alluded to, it's sort of showing the test fit, like what would each district look like and how do they flow together, right? So that illustrative picture of like, what is this? And that's what people will probably get most excited about, right? A bubble diagram, which is essentially what the framework is blocks on a page, and it does look really simple, right? It's like, oh, it took you that long to draw 8 circles? Like, what have you been doing? But no, it's the analysis and synthesis that goes into each of these, and that everything is exactly where we think it should be based on the site and direction and community engagement. And so the next level will show, for example, and I think that's also where we will look at where funding will help dictate what are we going out for, who are the groups and folks that want to partner with us, right? Looking at different types of partnerships. Are there large philanthropic groups, right? A few have approached us as well to say, we will build the thing. We just need to know where it goes. And it's like, well, great, but we need to plan for where things should go. And so we'll be able to answer a lot more specifically in that next phase, because the direction from January of last year to July of last year was different, right? Study some housing and then not housing. We wanted to make sure before we started designing that we had gotten this framework right. That's why we're here now, is to say, we're good. Yes, everyone sort of agrees with even the overarching of passive on this side, active on that side, and why we would progress from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Because, right, drawing bubbles on a plan is easy to change. When we start to dig in and start designing, you can still change it, but it becomes a little bit harder, right? So we wanted to get our framework locked in or approved, right? Present it to council and the community for feedback so that when we go to draw that plan, we have less iterations, that we know that we've got it basically right as a bubble diagram, and then we can fill in with detail. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
One other thing, and then I'll hand it off. I also pulled up the list and looked at the priority list, and the number one was multi-use paths for walking and cycling, and you kind of alluded to it in your presentation of entering through the stroll. One thing that I would love to see is something in this diagram showing, yes, we're planning on putting a big old loop that you can go and not have to like get interrupted by something, or you know what I mean? Like if you want to run the loop, you don't want a building in the way, right? So planning for that now to kind of indicate here, we're going to have this walking and biking path that connects all of the districts, and you can get from A to B to C, or if you want a 6-mile run, you can do the loop or whatever it is. And also, as I was dropping my dog off at my neighbor's to dog sit this evening, her request was no electric bikes on that path. So I promised I'd throw that in the mix.
I think PD would be happy with that too.
But they're a menace at Clover Park right now. So, but yeah, I think this is fantastic. Thank you.
Great.
Sure. I'll just piggyback there. Thank you again. Really lovely just to be in this place of contemplating this. Yeah.
Sure. So a lot of best practices, right? Sasaki has done a lot of work on all different types of things of this size. A lot of it is also what is the site telling us, right? So arts and culture is sized because that's where the arts and culture is, and we're sort of keeping that, we're honoring the buildings and spaces that are there that, already promote arts and culture, and how do we enhance that? Same with Urban Edge, right? Knowing that we're not building new buildings that are commercial or other because of council direction, we want to make sure that we are keeping all of those structures so that we can keep that revenue and hopefully enhance it. So then really getting into immersive nature and active sports, like we've got Tony, and he is an amazing landscape designer, working with Sasaki to understand what actually fits. And we believe, right, what we've been working on is that 6 to 8 rectangular sports fields, 3 to 5 baseball diamonds at the same size as Memorial, and then, the 24 pickleball courts, 6 tennis, 6 basketball. And then other things like we've heard a pump track, we've heard a skate park, we've heard lots of different ideas, but those are a lot smaller and you can weave them in. And so as we start to design, so these are just kind of like the big ideas of like, if we plunked things down without design, let's call it, right? It's just a test fit. That's what we're reasonably comfortable fits in this size bubble. And then obviously we will dig in further and make sure, right, we got some great feedback from the Rec and Parks Commission on what they felt was needed. And so things, may adjust here and there as we get into design to say, here's where things go. Because there's also been a lot of conversation around that northeast corner has really great views, right? That's where you can see everything from over there. So how do we make sure that that's available to everybody, right? Just because it's the active sports zone, right? You might want to have a walking trail all the way up, right? So that there's a high point that people can look at, right? Things like that we would want to bring in. But obviously at the bubble diagram phase, we're not drawing that yet, but those are things we're considering. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so. Can you say a little bit more about the immersive nature part?
Sure.
It's a kind of difficult part of
Difficult part of the site.
the site.
There's a big grade
And
change.
What kind of ideas are emerging in terms of thinking about that? Because it's a slope and it's, a little unwieldy and, yeah.
What would we do there? So I don't remember, but I think we saw you at the community event too, where we had kind of the different. It was like Park Finder, Park Ranger, or something, where you could take the pieces, or Park Puzzle, maybe that was what it was called. And at a minimum, we thought about 20 acres was about the minimum that you would need for an urban forest or an urban immersive nature place, because that felt big enough that you could immerse yourself literally, and also have the biodiversity and sort of the plants. There was enough diversity of plants, as well as helping each other out and all the things that happen in natural environments. This is bigger than that. It kind of curves around a little bit, but we imagine here, and someone was mentioning the historic structures. So the compass rose is kind of right above where the water might be. We absolutely want to keep and honor that history. So we were thinking about, is that where, do we have the Compass Rose community gardens, right? And if we're going to have a nature center, do we bring people in at 25th Street, right, to some experience? Could we have a native plant nursery, right? So we're teaching people how to care for these plants, because it is a little different than hire the gardener, and ornamental plants that aren't native behave differently. So how do we teach people about native?
I think I can see that the public is beginning to believe this can be done, and we have the resources to do it. So I know that there are rough days when you're looking at pushback from different constituencies in the community who don't want this to happen for a variety of reasons, but communities have done it. I've lived in 2 communities. My father was a naval pilot, and I've gone through 2 base closures, for example, and I've seen those communities. There's always resistance to change. There's always nostalgia for the past. But we just got to keep showing them that this is possible. And I think the things that are really important, I think Andrew mentioned it, which is I do think that the community needs to see this next iteration. And I know that we've spoken about that because my sense of the community is there's a lot of excitement, but the more the detail that you can provide them to fill in this canvas, the better it's going to be for the community, because we do live in a community with competing interests, and there are going to be interests that who don't want this, and they're going to be putting out their visions. And I just want to make sure that that playing field is equal, because you don't have a lot of financial interests sitting here in this room. These are residents. These are leaders in community organizations who are coming here tonight, not because they have a financial stake or because they want to fly their airplanes around the airport. They're here because they care about this community. And so I think you just really need to get that vision out there so that you can continue to build the support, which is quite unprecedented, to see the amount of support they're seeing from this community. And nobody's doing it for a penny, which is pretty amazing. So that's my encouragement to you. With respect to the immersive nature portion of it, I know that the state park, they submitted a letter of interest, which was pretty incredible to see the state offering to come in as a partner. And as we know, there are, I think, 30 or so state parks within the county of Los Angeles, starting from something as small as the Watts Tower up to some really big parks. And there's different ways that they can do it. They don't have to own the land. They can program on the land. And so obviously they're probably not going to get too involved in the Arts and Culture Center necessarily because they're a park service. But it seems to me that when you're looking at the western edge, that maybe there is an opportunity for them to come in and partner on those 30 or 20 or 30 acres or so. And I think that more connections that you make like that, again, it helps fill in the funding gaps, because that is a legitimate concern. It's the most common critique, which is how are we going to pay for it? And so we have to be able to answer those questions. And I think the folks in this room also understand that. We're going to do it in phases. We're going to do it through state funding. We're going to do it through local funding. We're going to do it through county funding. We should be looking at, obviously, at a conservancy of some sort. And this community is another group of people who can step in and do that. So I just encourage you to continue to build the support so that we can really make this thing happen day one over a period of time. That's it. I don't have any other questions. I had a couple smaller ones, but we can talk about this some other time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do at some point want to make a motion at some point after comments.
Yeah, that is my question is, how can we, as a commission, be most supportive with the city council meeting in May when you go before them? What would be
Thank you for asking. What some of the other commissions have done have voted to write a letter in support, or write so that they know how the board or commission feels on the topic, so that they can see what level of support and comments coming from you. Right, as I write the staff report for that meeting, I do summarize what we heard at each of the commissions, but your words are more powerful than mine on what you actually believe, and then you can choose what that letter is. So that's something that some commissions have chosen to do.
That's helpful.
Funny you should say that. I happen to have in my hand here, and I'm not sure if this is appropriate time, Chair, but I did put together and submit it to send it to City Council. I have copies for all of the commissioners here, and then we could, I don't know, I can't remember the protocol. Do we put it up? Should I just read it, give you copies, wordsmith it?
How long is it?
It's that long. It's 4 sentences. It's pretty short.
I'm a visual person. I certainly wouldn't mind taking a look at it visually.
Okay. So I'm going to give all the commissioners, and nobody has seen this,
No.
so I apologize, but that's what Mr. Brown requires. And I can give one to our folks over here. So what I'm going to do, so this is, do we want to put it up or is it none? In this, I've actually had the chance, this is the third board and commission meeting that I've attended so far. I've listened to what the other commissions have recommended. There were discussions. This is very similar in line to what the other groups have been doing. This is a little bit better, but sorry, guys.
press.
This better be good, Joe.
No, I'm trying.
Do we need a drum roll?
Hey, Chris, while they're figuring that out, now I can actually say correctly, congratulations. I guess I just put it out of the world a few months ago for you. So.
You're getting there.
Oh, I saw it for a second.
Ah,
You got, look at you.
That's the first, okay.
okay.
Then we'll move it up.
Oh, bravo.
It's just got 2 more lines below that.
Very helpful. And focus. Oh, perfect.
There we go. Oh, you had it there. Okay, so this is the motion that I'd like to make for the Airport Commission to adopt this evening and then to send to City Council. And I'll read it just so we have a oral recording of it. The motion is as follows, quote, this would be the language. We respectfully urge the City Council to, 1, formally approve the framework plan as the guiding vision for the airport conversion project. The framework plan represents a thoughtful, community-driven vision for the future of the airport site that is consistent with the will of Santa Monica voters and the requirements of Measure LC, results in a transformative public asset for our city and the broader region. 2, reject any proposal to modify Measure LC prior to airport closure. Any effort to amend Measure LC before the airport closes on December 31, 2028 risks, I have an extra word in there, risks splintering the broad coalition that has made closure possible and could delay community serving uses on the site. So that's my motion, if anybody's interested.
I happily second your motion. Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Let's vote
Okay.
then. Thank you for making this easy. Thank you. I don't have anything I would add or change.
Okay. Should we do a roll call vote? Yeah, okay, roll call vote.
Okay, we're doing a roll call vote for the motion. Chair Reynolds,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilder,
Yes.
and Commissioner Pertel.
Yes.
And the motion passes 3 with 2 absences.
And Diane, can you arrange to have this sent in whatever format that you would usually do something like this?
Yes, we do.
Great.
I usually send it to them and then they'll send it tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Pertel. All right.
And thank you to everybody who showed up tonight.
Yes.
It's been a while
indeed.
since we've had this many people in here. So. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Okay, I feel like I'm ready to go home now. Okay, no, I know. Okay, we are moving on to item 8B, the proposed airport housing ballot measure.
I'm going to withdraw.
You are welcome to, say that aloud into the mic.
In light of the recommendation that we just made in the presentation, I would suggest or request that we pull that item.
I think we had a request to speak on it, so we still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Request to speak. I'm sorry. That's right. I think was there a speaker?
There is, yeah, we have one.
Okay, sorry.
So how does that roll? Ivan, so Commissioner Pertel is withdrawing his comments around the proposed airport housing ballot measure, given the motion that we just passed.
We just hear public comment.
So, but there is a public comment on this item, so we can hear the public comment.
Right.
Okay.
So,
And then carry on.
yeah, you'd have to call for public comment on 8B. If there's no commission discussion.
Okay.
There's just no commission discussion.
Okay, great. We have a request to speak on item 8B.
Yes, we have one public request to speak. Chris Gutierrez. And your time starts now.
As you've already addressed the matter in the current motion, I'm delighted. But I have a second reason that the housing ballot measure is inappropriate. It's the vast ecosystem that we know to be our last ecosystem on our public land at the airport is the wrong place for housing, period. It's in fact imperiling all the aspects of both climate resilience and recreation and play. And most important, it would privatize, again, the very public land we seek to reclaim for everyone. So thank you for the earlier motion, and I'm happy just to reinforce what we already have established are the proper places for housing to go in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Gutierrez. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 9A, the monthly operations report.
Okay, so I have Leo, and he is the airport operations analyst, will present the noise report tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Would you like me to go through the report, or are there any specific questions?
Fair enough. I'm just turning to it right now.
The report is written. I've had a chance to review it personally, so.
Okay.
I did then have a question about the unenforceable noise violations. Could you just explain what those were, what happened, and why they were waived?
Yes.
Especially considering that those two entities have come up repeatedly on this report.
Absolutely. So there were two unenforceable violations in February, one by PlaneSense and one by JSX. Both of those violations were waived due to weather, specifically wind. There was a report of wind shear. If you remember in February, we were having some high winds during that month, off and on. I was able to confirm it after investigating it, not only through the weather reports, but also on tape and talking to the pilots themselves. So it was a weather-related safety issue.
Thank you. All right.
So those didn't go through the appeals process then, right?
They did not. They both experienced a wind shear negative, so they essentially had to power up as they were coming in because they're, to simplify it, they were basically going into the wind. They had a lot more wind coming at them that they were expecting.
So these are both at landing?
They were both on landing. Yes, they were both on landing. You know what? I apologize. I'm gonna have to verify the first one. I know that the second one is on landing. I can't remember if we were using runway 3 on the first one, so I apologize about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no questions.
Actually, I did have a question. Can you give us like an update on efforts by the flight school community to adjust to change the ways in which they're flying, or to mitigate some of the effects of this pattern flying that's been causing the folks in East Venice and Mar Vista just to lose their minds? I've heard folks in the community say that, in the aviation community, that they really care about this problem, but I'm not getting any sense from the residents that anything's happening. And I'm wondering, is anything happening to your knowledge?
Well, I know there's been a lot of talk or a lot of communication with the community. I know there's been invitations from both flight schools on the south side, Santa Monica Flyers and Sling, to actually speak with the more vocal community members from Venice. So to my knowledge, I don't know if they've actually made a date. To my knowledge, they have not met, but I know that the invitation was put out.
Okay. Could you, I mean, maybe I'll reach out to you. I would love to, because I spoke at one of their meetings. They've invited me and I spoke, and I know that Tracy Park's office is very concerned about this. I know that Mayor Chorosis is now aware of this. They've gone to city council. I can't imagine that this group wouldn't want to hear from these folks if they were sincere. So
absolutely,
I can assure you that they would love to meet with these folks because it is really causing them fits. So
we gotta,
if you could just underscore that these people would, I'm sure, would love to speak with them, to hear ways that they could possibly mitigate what they're doing.
Absolutely. I know that they've invited the flight schools. I've invited people to come. I'll follow up and make sure and find out the latest information before I misspeak.
No.
So,
and I would be more than happy to speak with you about that because I know that they've reached out to the FAA. I know Tracy Park's office. I know a number of stakeholders are trying to work on this and come together. So that would be really helpful.
Sure.
Thanks, Lou.
No problem. I'll get some updates from the flight schools and just reach out to me, and I'll give you the updates.
Great. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Leo.
It's really nice to.
We do have a request to speak
Okay,
on
I
this
just
item.
want to say real quick, it's really nice to have a current operations report. So thank you for through that. I also had another question. Are we still on track to do the 2025 annual report at our next meeting?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you both.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Leo.
Okay.
Appreciate
it.
You're welcome.
Nick, we have a request to speak on this 9A.
Yes, we have one public request to speak. Eve Lopez. And your time starts now.
Great, thank you. So good evening again. A couple of things regarding the ops report. Can we please have an update on when the PAPI lights will be restored? I know other pilots have been requesting it. We have an obligation to make sure this airport operates, and those PAPI lights are critical, so we'd love to get them working and know when that's going to happen. With respect to reaching out, so I'm a little confused here because you are the airport commission. You are charged with things related to the airport. So my question to you is, why haven't you established a rapport with the flight schools? You are the airport commission. Why is there no outreach from you to the flight schools? Rather than going through ops who are incredibly overworked, what are you doing, firstly? Secondly, this...
Are those in our packet somewhere? Okay.
Push it back.
Okay. Sorry, I've got it flipped every which way. Before this one? Okay. I'll just leave it yours.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great. All right. Any requests to speak on this item?
No, there are no public requests to speak on this item.
All right. Then let's move on to item 9D, the monthly fuel flowage report and unleaded fuel industry updates.
Okay, so in this item, we provided the February 2026 fuel flowage report numbers of the fuel that we received during that month. And that's all the update that we have for this item on this month.
Any questions or comments or for Diana on this item?
Do we know if Jet Suite X is purchasing fuel here?
Yes. Per Atlantic, but they are purchasing some fuel.
Thank you.
Great. Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
No, there are no public requests to speak on this item.
Item 90. Okay, great. And then moving on then, thank you to item 9E, the next Airport Commission meeting.
Okay. The next Airport Commission meeting will be a regular meeting on April 27th at 7 p.m. here at Council Chambers. And also looking ahead, since the May meeting would fall under the same day as a holiday, we reserved the Council Chambers on, which is a Wednesday. And I wanted to ask if that works for the commissioners so that we can proceed with that special commission meeting.
Unfortunately, not for me, but I'm wondering if there are any alternatives the previous week.
I'll let Nick speak to that.
Okay.
There were, but it would be in the SMI room. And there's other meetings that conclude at like 6 p.m.
Okay.
So it would be like an hour of setup time. So we're trying to see if that would be enough time for the HVAC system and
Oh, I see.
yeah, to
And-
set it up.
And would that be either the Monday or the Wednesday?
It would fall on the Wednesday.
On the Wednesday, the previous Wednesday, so that's the 20th?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me look here. Do any of the other commissioners have any known conflicts? You're okay on your end?
Yeah, I'm fine.
On the 20th?
Either, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if we could look in the 20th, at least then, I mean, I can't speak for Commissioner Neary or Griffin, but I know I can make the 20th.
So I'll follow up with an email.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, and we're good on the 27th. All right, thank you. Do we have any requests to speak on item 9E?
No, there are no public requests to speak on item 9E.
Okay. And I'm seeing that, I didn't catch this, agenda item 13, I think we were only going to put that on if we had something, right?
Yes,
Isn't that what we agreed to?
that's what we decided.
That we only needed to have an item 13 if we had a discussion item?
Okay.
Agendized
I think
ahead
we
of
were here
time?
last meeting, I think, when we talked about it.
I'll remove it. for the
Okay.
next one.
I don't have anything.
Okay,
We,
great.
I don't know if, yeah.
No, and if we did, we would agendize it ahead of time. So sorry, I didn't catch that when the draft came through. Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
we do. We had one submission about 10 minutes ago from Eve Lopez.
Okay, and then just to clarify, this is where we had talked about this a few meetings back, that if there is no
Member
agendized,
discussion item, then what's the public comment about?
exactly, except to comment on the actual agenda item.
I think, right, actually, no. So the intent of 13, if it's there, is for, and if a specific commissioner member item isn't listed, you just have a blank 13 there. The commission can use this agenda item to briefly discuss something that they may want to talk about at the next meeting without
Agreed.
going too far into detail.
Agreed.
And the public comment could also be around what the commission could possibly talk at the next meeting.
Agreed. But what we had discussed was going forward into the future, that we don't need to have an agenda item on something that's not agendized.
That's fine, I agree.
Okay.
But it's
Okay.
here, so.
Yeah, no, understood. That was an error. All right, so Ms. Lopez.
Yes. So
Are we gonna, hold on one moment, let me start your time. Okay, time starts now.
So one item I believe this commission ought to consider agendizing and discussing seriously is given that you are the highest cost for any advisory board or commission in this city, the absolute highest, it would warrant discussion as to what you can do to lower the cost that this commission costs the city. As you know, our city is in a terrible financial situation, and this committee cost singularly the highest of all advisory commissions. What can you do to lower the cost? So here are some suggestions. Because none of you or none of the commissioner members are pilots, none have aeronautical knowledge, you require a tremendous amount of resources from staff because they need to fill in the gaps that you leave. And so, Commissioner Wilder, you have been on this commission for many years, and I'd be curious to know what studying you have done to aid in that knowledge. I remember a basic question that you asked just a couple commissions ago about what a VOR stood for. Those are the types of things that ought to be predatory for people on this commission to have basic aeronautical knowledge, to be willing and dedicated to study, to learn it, to save our city cost about this. As you know, the FAA recently ruled against the city because of inappropriate airport expenditures that were, well, let's just say inappropriate airport expenditures or lack of crediting to the Airport Enterprise Fund. And that happened on your watch while you guys stood or sat in the seats that you sit. Had you had the aeronautical knowledge, the technical knowledge to know what expenditures, what credits are appropriate, perhaps that could have been avoided. So please consider this as a future agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. And that adjourns the Airport Commission meeting at 9:10 p.m. We'll see you in April.
See you, folks.
March
So what we're doing is we're taking all of the feedback, just it comes.
a little
native garden soccer fields. The meadow helps step down again before you get to immersive nature. You wouldn't want to have big, huge events next to immersive nature because then if you want to be in immersive nature, you've got a movie going on or something or a soccer tournament or whatever it is. And so the meadow is that kind of respite space or that knuckle space between the two so that immersive nature can really remain that calm, passive, quiet space for reflection and other things. And that the meadow is a little bit more exciting than maybe what's going on in the lawn being very exciting, but that's where you would come back to again and again. So small activations like spots. Step down, and then the meadow helps step down again before you get to immersive nature. You wouldn't want to have big, huge events next to immersive nature because then if you want to be in immersive nature, you've got a movie going on or something or a soccer tournament or whatever it is. And so the meadow is that kind of respite space or that knuckle space between the two so that immersive nature can really remain that calm, passive, quiet space for reflection and other things. And that the meadow is a little bit more exciting than maybe what's going on in the lawn being very exciting, but that's where you would come back to again and again. So small activations like splash pad or chess park or right, those types of things that people want to come to regularly. Back out, right? That seems to be about.
It'd be wonderful if you could come.
Yes. Can you hear me? Oh, Joe.
Donations.
Verify that the email that was sent today is the one you are referring to.
For each of these districts, you'll see a diagram that
Sure,
narrative
Big Blue
paragraph.
Bus will have
These
more shuttles by
pictures-
then.
Those are the types of things. Appropriate airport expenditures that were sat into, let's just say inappropriate airport consider this as in a future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. And that adjourns the Airport Commission meeting at 9:10 p.m. We'll see you in April.
See you, folks. But it is loud on 6, right? So I think this country's going to change.
Speak on this item?
No, there are no public requests to speak on this item.
Okay, great. And
Moving on then, thank you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, to set it up.
It would warrant.
That was an error. All right, so Ms. Lopez. Exactly,
Well,
except to comment on the actual. Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
We do.
Going to put that on if we have. Do any of the other commissioners have any known?
They are purchasing some fuel.
Thank you.
Yes.
Trying to build up.
They are. Yes. Per Atlantic, but they are. It's not a large amount per Atlantic, but they are purchasing some fuel. Yes. Yes. Per Atlantic, but they.
Questions or?
This is purchasing fuel. Do we know if Jet Suite X is purchasing fuel here?
Here.
Yes. Per Atlantic.
Do we know if Jesuit X is purchasing fuel here?
That's a good question.
Yes.
That's way to build up.
Yeah, they are. It's not a large amount per Atlantic, but they are purchasing some fuel.
Thank you.
Yeah, they are. It's not a large amount per Atlantic, but they are purchasing some fuel.
That's a good question.
Yes. Yes.
Well, this documentary is fucking awesome. Okay. I gotta go do stuff. Man. Wow. And his laptop, it is all on battery, no problem, this whole time. Impressive. 33, we started a full charge, we used 60% of the battery. We just went for 2.5 hours live streaming, doing all this on battery, and I'm plugged into an external monitor. Absolutely impressive. Absolutely impressive. This is a MacBook Air. Absolutely impressive. Absolutely impressive. I'm hungry. Bye.